Hello, my name is Melvin Perez. I'm a Senior Fellow here at Construx Software. Today I want to talk about the Pomodoro Technique. A technique that is very effective to use when you're working in an Agile team, and you will see why. But first, let me speak a little bit about how this whole thing started. In late 80s, this guy called Francesco Cirillo was struggling in studying. He was having a hard time focusing on the studying, and he decided to measure for how long he could really study. So he grabbed a timer, and one of those timers that has the shape of a tomato, and in Italian, tomato is Pomodoro. So he started tracking for how long he could really study. He would later define 25 minutes as the time box in which he will be focused. So longer than 25 minutes, he will start basically paying attention to something else. In other words, having some interruptions, internal interruptions. So how can we use this technique in Agile teams? So in Agile teams, we start with a set of tasks that we want to get done in a sprint. And on a daily basis, we're going to be selecting one or a few of those tasks that we want to complete. When we select a task, what we like to do is to focus on getting that task done. If we assume that we have the entire day to complete that task, in many cases, we're going to fall into what we call the student syndrome. In other words, we will feel that we have so much time that we're going to start doing something else. And this is not saying that we are dealing with external interruptions. Let's say that we are handling those external interruptions really well, but these are internal interruptions, things that will come to your mind, like you're starting to work on this task and now you remember, what are you going to have for lunch? Or maybe at that point, you're going to go and talk to your peers and start a conversation. And that would be maybe 10, 15 minutes. And you come back and you try to work again on that task. And now you're thinking, I should check on my Facebook. You would go and check your Facebook. All of those things are basically disruptions. And it's not helping you in getting the work done. So what we're going to do is to use this technique that is an application of the time box principle. So we're going to set a timer. I'm going to start setting a timer, and we're going to set this timer for 25 minutes, which is the standard duration of a Pomodoro. Now we're going to work for those 25 minutes on that task, and when the time is up, we're going to stop, and we're going to take a break. Say that we're going to take a break between 3 to 5 minutes. And then we're going to keep doing this. We're going to repeat this cycle that now we're going to call a Pomodoro. And if by some reason, we get into 4 consecutive iterations, we typically will take a longer break, and that will be between 15 to 30 minutes. We're going to repeat this cycle until we complete the task. Now, once we are done with this task, then we can pick another task and repeat the same cycle. What is happening here is that we are introducing a rhythm. We're introducing the rhythm of working every 25 minutes on something, get it done, and then reward ourselves with a break. Now, there are some rules that will be important to keep in mind. So the first rule we have is that these Pomodoros are indivisible. Once we start a Pomodoro, it has to finish. In other words, the timer has to ring. So we should not stop the Pomodoro or stop in the middle of the Pomodoro. We should try to use that time continuously. Now, it's the same thing that we do in Agile software development. You start on a sprint. You don't want to stop in the middle of the sprint. You want to find a way in which you're going to be working continuously and using that time effectively. Same thing here, but we're dealing with, I would say, a shorter time box that is only 25 minutes. The other rule that we have is that you should not keep working for a few more minutes. One time is up, you should stop working on that task and take a break. Again, this is another example or something that we can say what is similar to what happened at the sprint level. Once the time is up for that sprint, we should basically stop and proceed with a review and retrospective. Here, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to take our break. Now, there are some other tips also to keep in mind to use this technique effectively. So the first tip we have is that if you have a task that will take 5 to 7 Pomodoros, it means that that task is still too big. So you need to break it down. If you have, on the other end, tasks that will take less than a Pomodoro, less than 25 minutes, what you can do is to combine that task with some others and do all of them together. And if you have, when you're taking the breaks, those short breaks, make sure you're not using that time or that break for activities that will take significant mental effort, because that means that maybe for the next Pomodoro, you will be still thinking about whatever you were working during the break. And finally, another thing to keep in mind is that this is an empirical process similar to what we do in any Agile methodology. We're going to have retrospectives. We need to think about what is working, what is not working, and keep in mind that the next Pomodoro, the next iteration will be better, will go better. So this is the Pomodoro technique. It's something that we can use effectively in Agile teams, in Scrum teams. It uses the same principle of time boxing. It's also encourage you to work on just one task at a time during a time box, focus on getting that task done, and that's definitely a good way for you to ensure that you're going to have a successful sprint. I hope you enjoyed this and hope you can start practicing next time that you have to do some important task. Start breaking your time into chunk of 25 minutes and start using this technique, and you will see the benefits.